Hey, and welcome to this episode of Build versus Buy, a 30-minute conversation with product and engineering leaders about situations during their career where they've had to decide whether to build or buy. If you'd like to be a guest, reach out to me at mangit@useanvil.com. That's MANGGIT@useanvil.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe on YouTube or leave us a rating/review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to another episode of the Build vs. Buy podcast. My name is Mangit Ng, founder and CEO of Anvil, the fastest way to build software for documents. And today I have Rowland Hobbs as my guest. He is a very seasoned entrepreneur and executive and is currently the founder and CEO of Stake. Nice to have you on the show today, Rowland.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I think the thing that we always like to do in the beginning is have you talk a little bit about your background, your experience, and of course, share a little bit about Stake and what Stake does.
So we'll go into experience. I've done 2 startups before. The first was not venture funded. It was a loyalty consulting company. And we did consulting for big brands like United Airlines and what was then Starwood Preferred Guest before Marriott, and helped them build better loyalty strategies, and sold that in 2013. 2014, did a computer vision startup that helped organize all your photos. That was a little shorter lived. We did that for about 2 years, had a smallish exit on that. So it wasn't exactly the outcome we wanted, but it was one of those big learnings of, okay, how do you actually work on consumer? I went back and became a management consulting for a little bit at Accenture and a firm called Teneo, and then started Stake. And the large part for me of starting Stake is I wanted whatever the next company I was going to do have a very strong mission and social purpose to it. So that was the trajectory to be able to get to the last couple of years, which have been Stake.
Awesome. So real quick question here. You said that you worked on a photo sharing and organization company.
Yes.
It's funny. I actually worked at a company that did the exact same thing about a decade ago at this point.
It's about the same time. We were 2012 to 14 sort of time period.
Okay.
It was that early Insta was just becoming big and then got acquired. It was that time period. And so a lot of the patents that we created at that point are now being used in different areas as the exit on the patents. But we were really interested in, hey, people have a lot of photos. How do you organize them and find the best ones there? And so it was really early on applying computer vision in the cloud, but a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I worked on one that's exact same time period, actually. It wasn't my startup. I joined a friend's company. And we also had a smallish exit to Dropbox. But
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like there was that period in time where like photo sharing, photo management, Google Photos hadn't dominated yet, that all of these photo companies were popping up.
I know there was a ton of them at exactly that point, but it was the exciting time when you could actually take a lot of this computer vision and put it into the cloud.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the algorithms have been written before, but you didn't have to scale with the mobile devices. Really fun time, but it was also one of those things of like easy to be able to create the computer vision side, but hard to be able to get all that traction with so many folks who were out there.
That's the saying. I feel like I had a friend who was a multi-time founder. And he always said, if you can dream of it, you can pretty much build it. And it's really the go-to-market that's the hard part. Like, I think engineers never realize that. They always think, oh, the building's the hard part.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly it. The distribution strategy is the key takeaway I came from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit more about Stake. You mentioned it's a company with a strong social mission. Can you tell me exactly what Stake does and what is the social mission and how does it play into the company?
So we started with this mission of America's renters are struggling on affordability, which I don't think is shocking to say to anybody. We've all witnessed it in the last decade of how much rents have gone up and people are struggling to save. So we wanted to start with this, like, how do we help renters build more wealth in the same way that homeowners build wealth? And what we do now is that we provide a suite of financial services, always starting with cash back. We have 550,000 homes in the Stake network. Those 550,000 homes give cash back, free checking accounts. When you pay rent with that checking account, you earn more cash back. We help folks build credit with reporting their time payments to the 3 credit bureaus. So it becomes a way for renters to start building savings and then coming out with more savings at the end of their lease. So on average, our renters get 20% more savings than they had when they started at the beginning of their lease, and their average credit score is going up by 58 points. So
Wow.
we'll get into this a little bit more since we're talking about distribution strategy. That this is one of the crazy things of how can you get landlords and renters to move from a zero sum to a win-win where both sides are coming out ahead.
Yeah, actually, I'm genuinely curious about that. It sounds, what is the business model? Do you have to convince landlords to sign up for this program, or is it like a no cost ad for the landlords? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, so I'm going to go through the history of where we started
Okay.
and then how we go, which is get into the build versus buy.
Yeah.
So when we launched about a couple months before COVID, if I had the crystal ball or whatever. So our thesis was that there's a lot of money that's lost for landlords when they're trying to be able to get a renter into their home, right? That they spend on either marketing, they do 1 month free offers, and there's a lot of money left on the floor for them that they're spending that's not very efficient. When COVID hit, there became something that was really apparent of what landlords needed to do. There was a rent moratorium. That rent moratorium meant that for the first time, landlords didn't have, I'm going to put it in a really crude way, a stick, right? To say, hey, if you don't pay us, we evict you. So they turned to us for a reward. And the first thing we did was giving cash back for paying rent. And we reduced delinquencies for those landlords by 44%. So they loved us because they were like, hey, and it's such a counterintuitive thing. So during COVID, I'm sitting in my apartment in New York and I'm making calls to landlords and saying, hey, how about you give cash to your renters? It's not the most intuitive pitch. Usually the money goes in the other direction. But they were willing to test it because they were so desperate for something that could solve for this delinquency problem.
Right.
Now we don't just do delinquency, but we also help with leasing. So landlords pay us to sign leases and we give a portion of the money that we get from the landlord to the renter in cash back. We also now have a full banking platforms when people bank with us and the landlord doesn't have to contribute any of this to the cash back. Renters get cash back for banking with us. So when we talk about a network, we're talking about a couple big groups that contribute cash back: our banking partners, our brand partners, our property partners, and most recently, even governments. So we just launched Colorado Renter Rewards, where the government of Colorado, the state government, is giving cash back to renters when they rent in homes that are funded by Colorado.
Wow, that's actually really cool. So it's like a whole like financial system or ecosystem for the renters. And I guess every economic player in the system contributes to helping the renters build more savings and earn rewards, that's pretty cool, actually.
And that's what loyalty does, right? Like it's always it's a win-win. I'm able to get more customers. I'm willing to give cash to be able to get those customers. Very simple equation. I want to keep those customers. I'm willing to pay to do it. So brands, properties, government, banking, like we've really built up a whole network that puts the renter at the center and says, hey, if the renter's taking these action and it saves you money or makes you more money, we got a way to do that. So it's been really exciting to build up that network. We've given about $50 million in cash back to date across 500,000 homes. It's direct cash. It's not points.
Wow.
It's like real money in your wallet. So it really helps renters start that savings journey.
That's really cool. Maybe with that, you've alluded to it a couple times now in our conversation about a build versus buy conversation. Maybe with that, would love to transition into talking a little bit about a build versus buy scenario that you've experienced and how you thought about it. How did you approach the question? And then ultimately, what did you decide to do at the very end? Yeah, we'd love to hear that scenario.
Sure. So you talk about that early go-to-market motion, which is a B2B2C, right? We would sell to property owners to give us access to their renters. But what we kept on hearing from renters is, look, the problem I have is when I'm looking for a home and I'm going to start looking for a home, everywhere, if it's apartments.com, if it's Zillow, if it's directly on the property website, gives me the exact same price, which is really different from if you're looking for a hotel, right? If you imagine you were looking for a hotel and there was no booking.com or Expedia, like it was just the same price everywhere, we'd all be really frustrated, but there's places you can go and you get different benefits. You go to Marriott Direct versus going to booking.com. So we were really intrigued with this problem that renters were saying, look, you're helping me solve for my affordability challenges and helping me save, but it's hard for me to make a decision. So we started looking at a very unusual place for where renters go to, which is through rental brokers. And rental brokers help renters find affordable homes. The classic example that we heard in our research, single mom who doesn't want to be able to move her kid out of the school district because they're in a great school, but rent prices are going up a ton. She's trying to find a great deal, right?
Yeah.
She's just searching online, like, how do I stay in this neighborhood? I need to find a deal. She turns to the broker, helps her find a great deal on rent. So what we started testing before we bought and is that we tested with the largest rental brokerage in Texas. If we put our offers on top of these listings, will renters pick us first? They get more cash back when they pay rent, they get credit building. And then with the amount that we're getting from the landlord, we're giving $200 in cash back to the renter on every lease signed. So they can really earn a lot of money on signing the lease. We managed to sign 20% more leases in the first couple months. So we were like, okay, we've got this. And then we decided to be able to buy that brokerage. So now the largest brokerage in Texas called UMoveFree. It offers all the services of stake through there, and renters can get a great deal on rent.
That's awesome. Maybe for the uninitiated, can you maybe
Sure.
share a little bit more about what a rental broker is and what they do?
Yeah, so a rental broker is somebody that is gonna just help you, just like a home buying broker,
Mhm.
find a home. But they're paid for by the landlord, so there's nothing that the renter has to be able to pay direct. And so the landlord's saying, "Gosh, I need more leases signed." They will pay for, say, I will give the rental broker. Usually, it's about 1 month of rent
Mhm.
to be able to bring a lease to them.
Mhm.
So in these markets that have rental brokers, it's a great way for renters to be able to get a concierge service
Mhm.
to be able to find a property that's good for them. What's interesting is that the concierge service isn't, I know it's out there. I can look on apartments.com and see all there. It's the challenge of what can I afford? Like, where is the place that actually is offering me a great deal
Yeah.
that I can move into that's going to allow me to get the best I can in a market that's really struggling on affordability?
Got it. So these rental brokers typically represent landlords, it sounds like, because they're getting paid by landlords. But
That's right.
it's interesting because like it feels like so they represent landlords. But landlords typically go to rental brokers if they have rental properties in areas that are a little bit more difficult to fill. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it could be a lot of things. It can be either there's really high vacancy in an area, but it
Mm.
can also be brand new construction. It really covers a large amount, or it could just be I don't have my own leasing team.
Mhm.
And so I have the choice of I'm going to be able to outsource my leasing team through a rental brokerage as opposed to having my own. And in many cities in the US, this is like a common way that you're going to be able to have to find something. Somebody has to show you the apartment, take you through it. It's a really great way for the landlord to be able to just get that traffic coming through, but also make sure that they're closing leases faster.
Got it. I think when you said rental broker, the first thing I thought of was the New York market, right? Where it's near impossible to rent anything unless you have a broker showing you around, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they just banned represented like rental leasing in New York. Is that correct?
They banned charging the renter. So it's
Ah,
interesting in New York. What they did is they said the landlord must pay for the broker. So before it was, hey, you're gonna have to get 1 month in your deposit and pay the broker 1 month.
right.
Now the landlord has to pay for that 1 month in New York. In places like Texas, which is where we acquired UMoveFree, and they'd been doing this for 25 years
Mhm.
in the Texas market. So really established, like these big brands like Graystar and whatnot rely on them to be able to bring folks in,
Right.
right? And it's just as similar to the New York market where it's just complicated enough that it's easier to be able to go through the broker. And just remember that the landlords are paying apartments.com as well just for a listing. They're paying for that and they get a listing, but they don't get a confirmed lease.
Right.
When they're paying the broker, they're only paying on success. So they only pay for when they actually get a lease signed. There's no other fee besides just, hey, once you bring that renter to me, I'm going to give you the bounty to get that renter in.
Got it. And so maybe we can walk through a little bit of the decision process that you had in acquiring this rental broker in Texas. I guess just really curious to understand like why you decided to acquire versus like maybe creating a brand new rental broker, a nationwide rental broker. What are some of the thought processes that went into this build versus buy decision?
So we had this really great engine already going where we're selling to landlords,
Right.
right? So we have something that's already, it's working. But very candidly, like it's a process in real estate of selling landlords in. And the more that you can get that like social proof through renters directly,
Mhm.
and like any marketplace, you have a cold start problem. If you're going to go do it yourself, and we didn't want to go and be like, oh, we're going to have to hire a ton of people to be able to do this. We want to go and fish where the fish are.
Yeah.
and simply apply our fintech tools on top of something. But there was a lot of conversation. I'll tell you, very early days before we launched nationally, I became a broker in New York. You're talking about that, and showed a lot of apartments. So I knew how hard it was to be able to train a sales force on being a great broker. What we want to do is we want to apply our AI tools to help brokers sign leases faster. And so it's less manual and more automatic. Two, we want to be able to make it where more money is going to the renter. So by using this and saying, hey, let's not be able to focus on how much profit we can get here. Let's focus on how much we can get the renter. So the renter comes in and starts seeing how much cash they can get with us. That onboards them to our entire financial infrastructure. And so it allowed us to just leapfrog being able to have this kind of supply and demand challenge of when you're going to start. Equally, I'd say, and this breaking 2 bits of news, we've now got funding to be able to continue that acquisition roll up. So we're looking at acquiring more. It's a really good time to be able to say to renters, there's one place to go that you can find a great deal on rent, and you can come through Stake to be able to do that. And the brokers are going to be able to help you do it, but we can become that front door for those brokers by being able to give a much better deal to renters. They just get more cash and better credit building with us.
Yeah, I guess there's a couple thoughts that immediately came to mind here. One is that real estate being such a regional market, it changes. It's so different depending on what city, what state you're in. Training up that workforce to be a national rental broker just seems like a fool's errand in a lot of ways, right? There's so many local rules.
There's a way to all these different rules in every local area, like how, so Nashville is entirely different from Dallas. Frankly, Dallas is different from Austin, from Houston. And even just down to it's by definition a local game, right? Like, where are the hot new neighborhoods that people are trying to move to? What is the affordability challenges that are happening there? Brokers know that really well. And I think the challenge at the moment isn't, you can go and research and you can use ChatGPT to say where are the neighborhoods I should move into. But it's really I don't know how to make this financial decision. So what brokers are becoming is more like a financial coach for somebody. Here's what I think you can afford, and here's how you're going to use the best deal to be able to help you save. So somebody's working 2 jobs in Dallas, paying $1,800 a month in rent, is at that point where it's struggling. And they're like, if this is to go up 10% next year, 15% next year on the rent, I want to be able to make sure that I'm not just priced out. I want to be able to make sure I can find somewhere I can stay. So I think that's where the brokers really help, is on really front line of the affordability challenge.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I think the one time that I really realized this, how local the real estate market is, was probably like, let's call it 10 years ago or so. We were buying a condo here in San Francisco, and the market was hot. The market has been hot here.
Yeah.
My father-in-law I grew up in Michigan. My father-in-law is familiar with the Michigan market, and he was like, they're asking X dollars. We'll just ask for 90% of X dollars. That's our offer that we'll put in. And that would have like definitely been rejected immediately, because this is the point in time where offers had to come in above the ask price.
Yeah, you got to go like, you need to be 120%.
But it's just like how local and how different markets behave completely differently from other areas. The other thought that I had as you were talking about brokers is that by being this middle marketplace for both landlords and renters, and actually being more of a broker, you're like you said, you're able to shift some of that payment for the broker into the pockets of the renters as a reward.
Yes.
And you're not really focused on the profitability of that brokerage transaction so much as you are on like all of the other financial services you could offer renters and help them be more financially stable and feel supported. So it's interesting. It removes a little bit of the tension of where the broker's pay is coming from the person that they're trying to help represent. It's like the buyer's agent and there's less of a string tied from the buyer's agent to the seller agent anymore in this scenario.
Yeah, it's super, for us, the problem with brokerages or any lease signing for properties is that it's highly transactional and it's one-off. But if you think of models, if it's Amazon Prime or if it's Costco, you have a membership thing where you're really trying to be able to, you make your money on the membership. And so our model is very much set up in this way. Like, we now have renters who are coming back to us after 12 months and coming back on a really high repeat level. Why? Because they're staying with us and getting cash back every time they pay rent. They're building credit. So we really think about it as this like member group. And so the other part is that when you give the $200 to the renter, all your advertising, all your outbound becomes so much more effective.
Yeah.
In effect, when you're doing it, you actually become more profitable by just giving more back to the renter and creating a better deal for them. Because you're either going to have to decide to be able to pay the broker at a higher commission level, be able to spend more on advertising, or you can just put more money in the renter's pocket. And which one is the renter going to pick and make all your decisions
Yeah.
easier? So our brokers now sign more leases, our advertising is more effective, and we get them for a longer term because we don't just have this one-off transaction. Sometimes I joke like we're a little bit like the Costco for renters.
Yeah.
Like if they come in because they're like, oh my God, hot dog and great cashews and good prices on wine, but we're making the money on the like they stay with us and we have and they're becoming really financially active with us and activate our checking accounts, our credit building tools, etc.
Yeah. And I feel like in a lot of ways, just like Costco, right? When you go to Costco, you already believe you're getting the best deal. Like the Costco buyers have gone in and done the negotiation and found the best product and priced it at the right price so that you don't have to think about it. In a lot of ways with steak, it's kind of like that. If you've done it once, there's a trust with the renters that they're getting probably the best rental deal they can by using steak versus using, let's call it apartments.com, Redfin, Zillow, or their own broker in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're just going into it's a stressful time, moving's really stressful. It's financially stressful. So if you can help somebody at that moment solve for the financial pain and not just on the $200 we're giving them, but hey, here's the best place for you. We also offer things like free moves to help people with the move. We have a whole suite of services, renters insurance, utilities. You can pick all these through us. But why we do that isn't because we're trying to be able to exact more and more sort of margin on that. We just want to help the renter at that moment. That builds that trust. If they trust us, then they're going to say, hey, I'm going to pay my rent through your checking account. So I'm going to get cash back for doing that. And they're really sticky with us at that point. And they built up a lot of trust. And equally then, as we have the 550,000 renters in our network, landlords start turning to us being like, hey, you refer us really great renters. Like they pay rent on time. We reduce delinquency. They renew at a higher rate. So all of our network benefits. It's not just a renter, then we can take all those great renters who are really solid members with us and turn them back to our properties and get them great renters in return.
That's awesome. I guess one thing that I keep thinking about in my head right now is that I feel like when you're a renter, especially when I was a renter, the biggest challenge for me was always that first deposit as well. That first deposit is, and especially, and if you're moving, you haven't received the deposit back yet. You don't know how much is getting deducted, and you need to put a deposit in the new place. Like that seems like a very, very stressful situation. Does Stake offer any kind of support around today, or?
We don't do anything on the deposit. There is definitely tools out there that provide things like deposit insurance. The guarantors is one that does this, so it enables you to be able to pay a monthly amount. We don't offer it today, and there's one simple reason why we don't offer it today is that we're always looking to be able to put money back in the wallet and not charge anything that's going to be an interest focus. So our trust with renters comes to I put money back in your wallet. They want to go and get something that has an interest rate to it. Like our checking accounts are debit card, not credit card. We just find we build more trust. But here's the thing of what that $200 does at that moment. Let's just say the rent was at $1,800 I was mentioning, and you need to be able to put that deposit together. That $200 is going to help in terms of the calculus. You're just like, okay, this place is going to give me a little bit more back. On average, you're getting another $400 in cash back throughout the length of the lease. So that's $600. This becomes part of the equation of, okay, I'm going to be getting some of this money back to be able to help. But yeah, deposits are a huge challenge. The first month is a challenge. Moving's a challenge. All these things points to like the financial difficulty for renters in terms of what it's like to move.
Yeah, absolutely. It has absolutely been fascinating learning about your business and the rental industry. Honestly, it's definitely like an industry that affects a lot of Americans. I think a lot of us are renters. And so I appreciate that you're building this. Maybe
Thanks so much.
As we're transitioning out of the build versus buy decision, which you clearly ended up buying, you bought
We did.
bought an entire agency brokerage in Texas. Maybe we can talk a little bit about something else you bought recently that you actually really enjoy and would recommend. We always ask guests to recommend something that either they enjoyed and would recommend, or they would never buy again. Guests never say anything that they would never buy again.
I'm in. Yeah, no, would never buy again. Gosh, I won't go. That's a really good question. I have to think longer on that. I'll tell you the thing that I love, and it's my favorite purchase recently is Breville coffee machine. I love my coffee, the espresso that comes from it. I don't know, it just brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my partner said to me, I think it goes coffee machine than me in terms of, and I'm like, no, not really, but I love the Breville. I think it's fantastic. I
Partner
got
to
it
have
through.
something to strive for. That's what you need. You need them.
Yeah,
Give them
there we go.
goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If he was making the coffee, then maybe.
Yeah.
But it's, and I got it through Seattle Coffee. I probably could have got it through Amazon, but for whatever reason, being from Seattle, I was like, I got to support Seattle Coffee, so I got it through them. And so that's probably been a recent decision that just brings me a lot of joy, and that extra espresso in the morning helps.
That's awesome. For myself, I always like to suggest one as well. I recently bought some pants from Taylor Stitch, and I will say this will not sound like I'm selling it, because when I bought these pants, they are so stiff and so rigid and so painful that my knee started hurting because I was walking in them. And for a week, I had to break these pants.
It does not sound like it.
No, it's not. It's not. But there's a reason I bought these pants, and I really love them. I'm wearing them right now, actually. It's because I ride my bike a lot. I bike to work. I bike around. And I was buying just jeans from the who's who of jean companies, and they would always break in the crotch area where I'm cycling. And so after about 2 years of this and cycling through 15 pairs of jeans, because they were just like break, I get them mended. They would break immediately afterwards because the mending's not that well done.
Yeah, the mending, you're doomed at that point.
Yeah,
It's done.
and every one of them had been mended like 2 to 3 times. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I'm going to have like raw kneecaps from wearing my jeans and trying to walk around in them. But now they're broken in. They feel so good. If you're looking for a good pair of jeans, Taylor Stitch.
And I bet I'm not a bike rider. So am I just going to have sore knees? It's just going to be
Just for 1 week. Just for 1 week.
Oh, 1
Yeah,
week. Okay. I was a little pain for a long term.
Yeah, but you can buy it and keep it for the pants for I don't know how long. I will say I haven't broken these yet.
I may have to check this out. I've been like on that. I'm Levi's, and I've always been on like the Levi's thing, but I've never like, it's not like a lot of joy with it. It's just there they are.
Yeah.
You got to get it. So I may have to try it out.
Yeah. And then last question for you as our guest, share something that you've been working on, whether it's professional or personal, that you would like to share with the audience.
Oh, wow. That's a deep one. There you go, outside of the professional and on the personal side, I've been trying to be able to do yoga once a day, and don't always get there on being able to do it. I enjoy doing it. Like I said, I really, just as a startup founder, you end up being like, no, I'll do that later and blah, blah. And I travel a lot. I'm on the road a lot. So that's the thing that I've been trying to focus on. I have a yoga instructor who I work with, who I adore. She's fantastic, and she's great on Zoom. So like when I'm traveling, we could do that. So yeah, yoga's been in for a little bit now, but I'm really trying to get more serious about doing it daily instead of just like 2 times a week.
Yeah, no, flexibility is key to longevity, right?
It is. And also just like you're jumping on and off planes and his schedule's really crazy. I just find it's a good way to be able to just like recenter and get some perspective back, like when you're just like really crazed, and you don't have to find a gym to be able to do it.
Right.
So it could be in the hotel room, wherever. Like that became a really important thing to me. Sometimes hard to be able to get like a good cardio thing in. So yoga's the thing. And it's also a little bit of the New Year's resolution. Can I keep it up?
I love it. Good thing you're based in New York and you have your own space in New York, but New York hotel rooms are not big enough to do yoga. I'm just going to put it out there. Unless you're paying a pretty penny, but it's usually the bed and the bathroom, and there's no space for anything.
Yeah, that's actually fair. You would have a little tiny strip. Though you have to keep Warrior 2 like very narrow.
Cool. Rowland, it was really nice speaking with you. Thanks for coming on the show. And yeah, I hope to keep in touch and hope to have you back on the show at some point in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. If you found this show valuable, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or here on YouTube. We'd love if you could leave us a rating and/or a review, as that helps others find this podcast. See you next time.